Hello, friends. Welcome to a special episode of the Dateable Podcast. We had regular programming that we scheduled for this week, but we decided that nope, we got to do something else in light of what's been happening and the overturn of Roe v. Wade. I'm also wearing my bold shirt today, but I realize my hair covers the B and it just is old.
You're s Thank you, UA. I needed that laugh after this week, so I really that was really
like,
helpful.
like I'm trying to be bold, but then it's just as
But
old.
then it's telling me what I don't wanna hear, thanks. Maybe you should get a haircut. That's the only way to
That's
beat
right.
the
Yes.
oldness.
Yes, that's bold and doesn't cover the B, but
Bold,
what a
not old. It has been a crazy freaking week, though.
wild.
I mean, I feel like we all saw this coming, right? This has
Yeah.
been, leaked for a bit, but, as the news cycles go, I feel like it kind of got hidden for a bit. So
Yeah.
it came as a surprise again, for sure, when this was announced on Friday.
But also, I think when it got leaked, my first thought was, "Oh, there's no way. We're way past that. There's no way. This is just a fluke." So I really didn't think this would be a reality. I feel like, what year are we in?
I mean, there was the best Instagram from the Fat Jewish, who I love.
Oh.
Time zones are crazy. In Australia, it's 9 a.m. In Rome, it's 1 a.m. In America, it's 1942, where minorities and women are still controlled by old white men. We're back in the Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it's not a joking matter, but it's just freaking nuts how regressed we are becoming. And I feel so thankful to be in a state like California where our rights are preserved. But I know I have a lot of coworkers that are in Texas that went out to the protests, and we're all like, make sure that you're okay and come in after. But shit can get really crazy when there's, a lot of different opposing views, or you live in a state where you're against the norm if you feel like this shouldn't be how it is.
That's kind of how I feel living on the West Coast is we are in a bubble. I felt this way when I lived in New York too. And I forget
Mhm.
there's so much more to the US than just the coasts. And these states have to go through so much. Like the southern states are going to be affected the most. They're
Yep.
going to have to travel the farthest
Yep.
to get abortions. I mean, as far as like 900 miles, that's insane.
I know.
And the
You know what?
states with the most strict laws actually have the most kids in poverty.
Well, that's the part that's killer about this is it's not just, I mean, there's so much that goes into this decision, and I think
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like it's hard to put in your own words. I feel like I've seen so many quotes that have described it better than what I'm going to probably say, but I think the fact of this isn't just having a baby, it's stripping this right of women of the financial responsibility, basically your life being put on hold, and also unfair to kids when they come into this world as unwanted. That isn't a good position to be in. And there was this quote that was said, if every time men had sex, they risked death, physical disability, social shunning, a life altering interruption of their education or career, and the sudden lifelong responsibility for another being, I think they'd expect a choice in that matter.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
crazy part of just how much, it really, whether you're for abortion or against it, I think the fact that our rights and choice has been stripped is a huge detriment to progression.
And there's no exception for rape.
Nope.
Okay. I mean, that's just right there just shows you that we've lost our rights. We've
Mhm.
lost our rights in this country. Guns have more rights in this country than women
Yes.
do. And it's fucking 2022. What are we
I
doing
think
here?
the other part that I've been reading about, because this is something I've done, is that now there's the feeling of, fertility of freezing embryos. Does that
Yeah.
is that count as abortion? I mean, there's a lot of embryos that aren't used. I mean, I can think of like, first of all, let's say you have successful transplant, you get 10 embryos, you might not use all of them. But even
Yeah.
like there's a lot of couples that freeze embryos that end up breaking up that don't end up using them. So there's a lot that has to do with that side of things. And it definitely makes me concerned as someone that's like kind of relying on modern technology for the future family planning. It's kind of ironic because it's like people that want kids might be stripped of that too in some of these states.
Yeah, that was a really interesting article you sent me about how these clinics, if they destroy embryos for whatever reason, they could be charged with homicide now.
It's nuts.
It's not all of it
Anyways,
is
yeah.
nuts, and I personally don't have an abortion story of my own, but I certainly knew a lot of women and friends who did, especially in college, and I did have a pregnancy scare at some point. I think it
Mhm.
was late in high school. Our condom broke, and I was freaking out. I can't imagine if I had gotten married or gotten pregnant at 18, how different my life would be if I couldn't get an abortion then.
And also how unfair it is for a child to come into that too. I mean, that's the
So
other side.
unfair.
It's like we're pro life, but is it really giving someone a good life when it's set up for failure from the get-go?
Yeah.
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 And
Uh,
but so anyways, we definitely wanted to, initially we had a really great episode about sex that was programmed, and that also like
we
brings
will
up
have
a
that.
lot. Is like we'll definitely have it, but like is that going to change the way people view sex from now on? Like is it going to
Mhm.
go from something that's supposed to be enjoyable? I feel like we are working towards breaking down the stigma of sex. And is it just going to become something that's super stressful because there's so much at bay now with it too? That's another side of this whole equation of what it does for sexual progression.
Yeah, the trickle down effect is
Yeah.
insane. I mean, we're already in a sex recession. Now we're just gonna be completely dry. You
Yep.
know, this is the scare tax tactics of all of
Uh-huh.
this. Um, I just can't imagine being a younger generation right now, what the implications could be, especially if you're in those states that are highly affected by this. And
Yeah.
then
So
also, I think this is gonna drive up property prices in California again because
ugh,
a
probably.
lot of people are gonna be moving in.
Well, yeah, everyone that fleed to Austin's probably coming right back. But yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so anyways, we wanted to do a special episode. We got a really great we put up a post in our Facebook group. Our moderator Janice shared her story, and immediately that was the catalyst for this of okay, maybe we should change our programming, dive a little deeper because personally I was very curious about her experience and she actually chose to have the child at the end of this, but
Mhm.
the point is the choice. And then we also wanted to talk to someone that had an abortion. So
We did get a very interesting Instagram message. Someone said maybe we should interview some men who've been through the
mhm.
process with their girlfriends or wives, and I think that's a really great point. We did not find any men for this episode, but if there are any men out there who would like to share their own abortion story, please reach out to us. Hello at dateablepodcast.com.
Okay.